Luke 7, verse 37, behold, a woman in the city, which was a sinner, when she knew that Jesus sat at meat in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster box of ointment, and stood at his feet behind him weeping, and began to wash his feet with tears, and did wipe them with the hairs of her head, and kissed his feet, and anointed them with ointment. Now when the Pharisee which had bidden him saw it, he spake within himself, saying, This man, if he were a prophet, would have known who and what manner of woman this is that toucheth him, for she is a sinner. I'll go to verse 44. And he turned to the woman and said unto Simon, Seest thou this woman? I think, oh yeah, Simon most definitely saw that woman. But the Lord's going to have him look at her with a different set of eyes. I entered in thy house, thou gavest me no water for my feet, but she hath washed my feet with tears, and wiped them with the hairs of her head. Thou gavest me no kiss, but this woman, since the time I came in, hath not ceased to kiss my feet. My head with oil thou didst not anoint, but this woman hath anointed my feet with ointment. What a contrast here, Simon the Pharisee. And what we see here is how approachable the Lord was. Again, this is not Mary of Bethany. You have that in Matthew, Mark, and in John. But here it's a woman that was a sinner. You say, well, we're all sinners. Every man's a sinner. Every woman's a sinner. That's not the point. The point is this woman made her living by sinning. This woman was a sinner. That's how she made ends meet. This is how she provided. But this woman, her heart is touched, and all she can bring to Jesus is tears. And she takes the lowest possible place at his feet. And Simon is sitting in judgment more on the Lord Jesus than he is sitting in judgment on this woman. He had his judgment about this woman, but more than that, he had a judgment about the Lord Jesus. He said, if this man were a prophet, he would have known what kind of woman she is. And if he had known, he'd have nothing to do with her. But here is a woman whose heart has been touched and moved by the Spirit of God. And she comes to the only one that could be blessing to her, and she takes the lowest place. She washes his feet with tears. What's that? It's sorrow. The woman had a life of sorrow, but she uses those tears to wash his feet. Then she takes her glory, her hair, not a towel like you have in John 13, but her hair to wipe his feet, and then with oil to anoint his feet. And the Lord said, do you see this woman, Simon? That's what she did for me. What did you do? You sat in judgment on her. You sat in judgment on me. There was nothing in Simon's response that would move the Lord's heart. But this woman, marvelous picture of grace,